IIBA Australia acknowledges the traditional owners of the country throughout the whole Australia and recognise their continued connection to land, waters and future. I'm speaking to you from Brisbane today, which is the land for Turrbal and Yagara people, who's been there for 32,000, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend our respects to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Island people present with us today. Quickly show the agenda for those on the call. That's how we're gonna run today. As I've mentioned, the meeting is recorded. We will speak to the highlights, the summary, and then we'll send the full report afterwards. So as I said before, if you want to ask a question, we'll take them at the end, but you can put them into the question and answer chat during the meeting, and then we'll get to them. Any questions on this? I can see people are still joining. So our reporting timelines for the AGM is a calendar branch and chapter achievements. So we're reporting for the year from the 1st of January to now. We can't do it in the future. And it includes Festival of Business Analysis, events, study groups, and mentoring. The finance report is aligned with the financial year, which is from the 1st of July 23 to the end of June 24. The quorum for the AGM meeting to go ahead is 25, and we do have the quorum already. So it's great. We can start the meeting now. The IIBA Australia chapter is here as a community of professionals, and we want to build business analysis capability to influence the change and to deliver the value for all Australians. And we have 5 values, which is enjoyment, inclusiveness, being adventurous, integrity, and professionals. Can I please ask to put yourself on mute if you're not asking any questions? Okay, thank you. We will start with the President report for 2024, and the President of IIBA chapter, Australia chapter, is Brianna. I will hand over to Bri to continue with the talking. Yep.
Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you, board members, and thank you, dear community members, for joining us tonight. To kick us off, I'd like to remind you about the strategic goals that have led our chapter in the last 4 to 5 years. We committed to build the Australia chapter so that we build a world where business leaders recognize business analysis as fundamental for business success. We strived so that our professional peers recognize the Australia chapter as the peak body for business analysis capability in Australia. And we also committed that the chapter will work with our community and consciously invest all our resources to grow the sustainability and resilience of our organization. Tonight, we are going to reflect on 2024, and we are going to revisit the moments that highlighted how we have delivered on these strategic objectives. So let's start with the next slide and our recognition as recipients of the Chapter Sustainability Award. Next slide, please. The Sustainability Award is awarded as part of the global IIBA program for recognition of outstanding commitments and achievements across all the chapters globally. and globally there are more than 130 chapters. So receiving this award in 2024 means a lot for us and our community. It's also worth noting that this is the second sustainability award we received since year 2020, and also reminding you that in 2022 we were awarded the Chapter of the Year. So this is a recognition for the chapter, continuous growth and commitment to our strategic objectives, purpose, and values. This is also acknowledgement for our unprecedented strong membership, both individual and corporate. And ultimately, this is endorsement for our unique community, the network of volunteering teams across the entire continent, and our visionary leadership on national level. Moving on, the leadership sustainability of the chapter is represented by our stable board of directors, our enhanced recruitment and selection processes, our focus on empowering volunteers to do high-value work, and our commitment to leadership succession strategy and building a healthy balance of experience and skills. So in 2024, we had quite a lot of achievements that would fill in more than a single slide and more than the time we have tonight for the AGM report. Here are just a few of the highlights. The Festival of Business Analysis, now officially the largest business analysis event globally, and a proud event in the global IIBA event series. We are also very committed and very proud of the collaboration which we have built on national level across Australia with our branch network, and also working with our peer chapters. We are going to revisit tonight the BA Excellence Awards, and they are now in their third year. We are going to report on our exceptional educational and mentoring services, and not a surprise, the continuous growth of individual and corporate membership and partnership. So before we move to the Festival of Business Analysis, the very last big event this year was the Global Business Analysis Day on the 1st of November. This is a 24-hour program which runs across the globe, and Australia has the honor and the privilege to open the event. So this year, we delivered 4 hours of locally hosted content. We had a number of outstanding speakers, and we received very strong positive feedback on the quality of the content and the engagement of the audience. And audience, despite the time differences and the challenges of logging in, if it is, let's say, 6 o'clock in the morning or 12 at night, the audience speaks for itself. The Australian segment was one of the most attended globally. So let's move to the Festival of Business Analysis, and what an event it is. Year on year, we put together this week-long celebration. This year, it was a snapshot on the next page will show a story, and what a story it is. An event that runs 7 events in 5 days. This year, we crossed the milestone of 1,000 attendees across all different mediums. We had more than 120 presenters, many of them local and many of them joining us from all corners of the world. We also had our traditional strong online segment. We had 216 attendees joining us from over 10 countries, which means that the content and the engagement that we deliver online actually means a lot, not only to our community, but to people across the globe. We staged these 5 cities in Australia, and we also collaborated on 2 events in New Zealand, Auckland and Wellington. It was a year of innovation. So it was the first year when we had a naming sponsor, and that was the SOFTET IIBA Festival of Business Analysis. We actually had a record number of sponsors and media partners, organizations that really put their money where their heart is and willingly support our community and want to give back to our members. This was the second year we have partnered with the New Zealand chapter as co-hosts, and the second year we delivered the event as part of the IIBA Global Event Series. This is the third year of the incarnation of the Business Analysis Professional Week as the Festival of Business Analysis. For a fourth year, we partnered with our events and content partner Conference Design. Overall, this is the 12th year that the Business Analysis Professional Week, previously known as the BAPD's Professional Days, have been held. This is the moment to give a very big shout out to close to 100 dedicated volunteers across the branches in Australia and New Zealand. People who committed time and over close to 10 months worked in order to make this an absolutely stunning success in October. Also, very big acknowledgement to Luigi Bini, our major events director, and Abhisa Chitanantan, who led the collaboration and this massive team and effort across Australia and working with our New Zealand counterparts. So the next slide will give you a quick glimpse of who supports us and who helps us to put this event in place. These are endorsed education providers, training partners, recruitment organizations who not only work with business analysis professionals, but genuinely believe in the mission and the purpose of our organization and genuinely contribute to making Australia and the Australian business analysis community such an amazing and advanced space. So I can continue and probably talk for another 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe a couple of hours. But there is quite a content for tonight. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to hand back to Anastasia, who will tell you all about the amazing awards this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Bree. This year, Australia chapter ran the awards for the second year and extended the number of categories. And before we start with the actual award winners, I'd like to acknowledge and praise and say a big thank you to our judges who are all volunteers. And as a volunteer organization, we rely on those passionate people giving us their time and expertise to judge our award nominations. So the awards of this year, BA awards, are on the screen. The first, and I'm gonna read them out and call out for those beautiful people who put their hands up and win the categories. The first one is an Emergent BA of the Year, which was sponsored by PM Partners, and the winner in this category is Connor Christie. The second nomination is a very powerful one. It was named after Dr. Cecily McDougall, and it's a Business Analyst of the Year. We had a number of nominations this year, all very strong, and Catherine Claudia Berosa Monterosa is the winner of that category. BA Leader of the Year is Krishna Nandagopal, who is very passionate about not just her BA leader role, but also the BA community and introducing the knowledge of business analysis across the community. Business Analyst Practice of the Year is WorkSafe Victoria Enterprise Business Analysis Practice, who were a very strong winner in that category. And we've introduced a new category this year, which is BA Innovation of the Year. Because it's a new category, we only have only one nominee, but nonetheless, they really deserve this award, which was Pamela Task Manager from Pamela and Farming Company. So great work and congratulations to all the award winners. And we're looking forward for what the next year program will bring us. So now we're moving to the chapter awards, which is traditionally every year awarded to our volunteers. And the first one is a Chapter Leadership Award for 2024. You might have already heard those names, so no surprise that Gary Ahrens, our current Vice President, and Abhi Sachinathananatham, our Marketing Director, has got the award for this year. Normally, it's awarded for one person only, but in this case, the decision was made both was it, so there was a dual award winner. A Branch Volunteer of the Year, listed just in alphabetical. It doesn't mean much, but so I'll just go in alphabetical order. For Adelaide, we've got Kubra Gula. Thank you, Kubra, for your input for the Adelaide branch, and your efforts are appreciated. For Brisbane, we've got Noreen Samsuri, a great volunteer from Brisbane who's been with the branch for a number of years and is running the events program there. In Melbourne, we've got Manju Chudhari. Manju is a wonderful lady running the events in Melbourne and contributing to the success of FOBA. Thanks, Manju. In Perth, we have Robbie Aurora. And I must say, there's a second year that Robbie's got that award. Great effort there. Thank you. And in Sydney, we have Sushil Vikra. Even though there's a number of great volunteers in Sydney, Sushil stand out for his commitment to market the FOBA event and get it to the success. Thank you all the volunteers, those receiving the awards winners and those who are working there to support. We all very grateful to you. With this, I will hand it back to Brianna to run us a little bit more through the chapter achievements in 2024.
Thank you, Abhi. Big congratulations again to all the award recipients. And I would like to highlight that the mix of recipients in the volunteer awards across the branches and also nationally, it's a great evidence of the sustainability and the spirit of the chapter. It is an amazing mix of people who have been involved for a number of years and also people who only stepped up in the last year, but made a really amazing effort and actually made a difference in less than 12 months. So they are all a fantastic example for what good purpose and good intentions can bring to the table. So congratulations again, very, very well deserved. From here onwards, I'm hoping to see a lot of new names in the next year. We have a team of close to 100 people who are registered volunteers and contribute conscientiously during the year. So let's have a look at the achievements. A big disclaimer here. These are only the summary slides, substantial material which will be available when we distribute the full AGM report to all members. So here at a glance, I'm only going to give you the highlights. Australia has the highest penetration of corporate membership globally. 62 corporate members and counting. And you can see on the screen that on the left and the right-hand side, there are two different types of program because the global corporate membership program is in the process of transitioning. I would like to especially thank Xavier Trigueur, who is the IIBA Global Manager for our area. And I also want to acknowledge Michael Ogello, who is one of the legends of the chapter and has been supporting us for as long as we remember. And also the board members and especially Arvind and in the past Jaya, who have worked especially in the field of corporate membership and corporate engagement. The other amazing number is we have over 3,012 as of last night, active IIBA members who are associated with Australian domicile, so they are essentially IIBA members associated with our chapter. Undoubtedly, the biggest community of professionals with IIBA Professional Association. And you can also see at a glance some of the statistics around certification numbers and the overall certifications held across Australia. I also want to acknowledge that these numbers, they are now quite easily available and enable us for much more proactive management, because during this year, one of the big technology milestones was the implementation of our new website, which is so much more than a website. It is a website, but it is also the platform which now connects all our members to events, delivers content, and also supports the member management. So quite an achievement. And when you receive the report, please make sure to have a look at all the slides underpinning this highlight slide. So let's go and have a look at the snapshot of how our Australian branches look in 2024. So this is the branch health snapshot, and healthy the network is. We have more than, depending on how we count the volunteers, And if we include the people who joined for special events like the festival, and also people who contribute to special education events such as the study groups and the mentoring programs, the number of volunteers goes to almost 100. But across the 5 branches, we have a community of 60 plus members who work from January to December, and then they break for 1 week and they reconvene in the next January and they start working and planning again. And the result is obvious on the slide. We have 5 vibrant, thriving branches. We have Brisbane leading with the most branch events throughout the year. Also study groups and a mentoring program. We have Sydney with events that attracted over 250 attendees, study groups and the mentoring program. We then go to Melbourne, where we also have study group and mentoring cohort. We had 6 events and a number of university engagements and collaborations. Adelaide was the absolute champion in study groups and also delivered for branch events. And finally, in Western Australia, in Perth, there were 6 branch events and a number of university collaborations. So, as a whole, the network of branches delivered 28 events throughout the year. So just put this into perspective and think that for the small Australia, how big of an achievement this is. This is almost 1 event every 2 weeks. And a lot of these events are hybrid events where we manage to deliver the best of both worlds. We have the opportunity for the local community to get together and network, but we also share the goodness of the content and the knowledge with online delivery and collaboration whenever it is possible. So again, just a snapshot. Behind this snapshot, there are 6 amazing slides that outline the achievement and also put faces to the names and the people who work tirelessly to make this possible. Special shout out that albeit Canberra is not on the snapshot for 2024, we actually have very strong reasons to believe that the picture will include Canberra in 2025. And this is a very special acknowledgement again for the community of volunteers. Thank you to Xavier and Michael, who also supported this from global perspective. But first and foremost, big shout out to Gary Irons, our outgoing vice president and incoming chair of Canberra. So watch this space. There will be one more, at least one more branch showing on the branch held in 2025. And I encourage all of you, spend time and browse through the individual slides because they will show you how vibrant and committed the community across each one of these cities is. So I'm going to pause again and I'm going to invite Christy Otting, our treasurer, to share with you the financial results. And I'm smiling, and I think Christy will be smiling as well. Please, Christy.
Thank you, Brianna. So I'm Christy Otnig, the Treasurer of IIBA Australia. I certainly am smiling because the great effort that's gone into the activities of the branch and the branches and the chapter over the last year has been reflected in our financial results. So I'll be presenting the financial results for financial year FY24, so the 1st of July 2023 through to the 30th of June 2024. The accounts have been prepared for us by our auditors, William Buck. So in summary of our position for the financial year, we've received revenues of $110,886, expenses of $91,612 for a total surplus of $19,274. At the end of the financial year, we had assets, so cash reserves, receivables of $276,471, and liabilities of $44,595. So just working through the results, a slight increase on the surplus from last year's result of just over $15,000 and a significant improvement from FY22. So a really great outcome from some fairly challenging years that we had with COVID. So really great to see our financial results really getting back on track. From a liability standpoint, the liabilities relate to our membership income. Since harmonisation in 2021, we now receive a greater proportion of revenue from our membership cohort. Brianna spoke to our membership numbers. They've been increasing over the last couple of years. Given the size of that number now and the revenue, our auditors amortise that value. So almost that entire amount of liabilities will be recognised in next financial year. Next slide, Anastasia, please. So looking at the core revenue by category. So education revenue had a slight increase from last year, so 24,160 compared to close to 23,000 the previous year. Event income of 32,372. A portion of that relates to event income from FOBA. So 26,280 of that relates to FOBA activities from both 2023 and 24. The core amount for local branch events was $6,092 for the year. Our membership income has been adjusted by close to $30,000. I discussed that earlier. We now amortise that across months and into subsequent years. And our sponsorship income, so most of our sponsorship now comes through FOBA, which is managed through our conference partner, Conference Design. Next slide, please, Anastasia. So looking at our membership numbers from 2023 to 2024, we've had a slight increase over the last year of around 3%, so close to 80 members year over year. There's been a substantial increase since harmonisation in 2021, and we've received a substantial income benefit from that harmonisation. As a Melburnian, I'm proud to say that the Melbourne chapter is actually the biggest chapter in terms of members, and I can see Michael smiling there as well. Good to have a bit of intercity rivalry amongst our branches. So next slide, Anastasia. And in terms of our key expenses, so consulting is the largest portion of our expense in the branch, and a substantial portion of that. So if we look at note 1, just over $37,000 relates to conference design. Brianna spoke about the success of the FOBA program, and that's due in part to the relationship that we have with Conference Design, who support us with the delivery of the program as well as our marketing. Our Infotech licensing, there was a slight reduction to last year. Brianna also spoke about the migration to the new website, which also includes a consolidated or central membership management tool, which means that we've been able to decommission our Zoho and MailChimp licensing. So a cost benefit to our chapter and leveraging some core capability provided by IIBA Global. Our accounting and audit, so the activities provided to us from William Buck, so the preparation of our quarterly BAS statements, our annual accounts, our tax return, and then support on our ASIC and company obligations. Catering and venues relates to our core brunch events. So we're seeing much more activity in that space over the last year. The reduction in prior years is a result of some of the refunds that we're carrying through from COVID. We saw an increase in travel last year, which was as a result of the resumption of travel of board members to support the delivery of FOBA and the board strategy day. So really great after doing everything virtually for a couple of years to actually get in person for the board members to go and travel and see the different FOBA events. Next slide, please, Anastasia. Anastasia, do you want me to move? I'll move this. Yeah. So every year as part of our AGM, we appoint or reappoint our auditor, which is William Buck. So I'll read through the motion. In accordance with Constitution Article 32.4, the members appoint William Buck Accountants and Auditors of Brisbane as auditor of the chapter's company accounts for the 2022, actually that should be 2024 and 2025 financial year. We can update that. So can I ask the participants on the call, I'm moving this motion to reappoint William Buck as our auditors for the next financial year. Unfortunately, the polling function isn't working tonight. So can I ask in the chat that you put a Y for yes if you are endorsing the vote, an N for no, or an A for abstain if you choose to abstain from the vote. Fantastic. Thank you all. And I think I'm now handing over to Gary Irons, who will talk to you about the complement of the board for 2025.
Thank you, Christy. And yeah, that's great news with the financial results for this year. It's really great to see that we've really turned that corner from what we went through a few years back with COVID. So this year I've had the pleasure of chairing the nominations committee, which is how the chapter goes around ensuring that we have the right complement of directors for the board. I've been able to chair that as I'm not seeking to be returned to the board in the current year. So the board appoints a nominating committee of 3 to 5 delegates. That's to become a director, you need to be a member of good standing. You need to submit your nomination using the nomination form, and that has to be submitted no later than 21 days prior to the annual company meeting. The nominating committee is tasked with identifying the suitable candidates from the nominees and making a recommendation back to the president and the board. This year's nominations committee were myself, Anastasia, the current secretary, and Hayden McDonald as an external candidate, as an external member of the nominations committee. So that's one director who's not seeking, who's mid-term, plus one director who's not seeking to be reappointed as I'm stepping down, and the one external member. Next slide, please, Anastasia. So this slide shows the current, the directors who've been a director up until tonight. That's Brianna, myself, Christy, Abby, Luigi, Anastasia, Walter, Arvind, and Tim. Those marked with a star are the executive committee. So these people have served as company directors for the last 12 months. Thank you, Anastasia. So the 3 members on this slide here are the people who have been a director for the last 2 years. So that is, their last appointment was in 2022. That's Tim Rathel, Luigi Binney, and myself. Thank you to all 3 of those, as well as the other directors, for your dedication as a volunteer and for your commitment to making sure the chapter can reach its goals and fulfill its values. Thank you, Anastasia. Okay, so for 2025, we had the 4 nominations. So that was Luigi and Tim to return to their place on the board, along with a nomination from Evan Close, who's been very active in Adelaide branch for quite some time, and Susan Yu, who was previously on the board as a director and has remained active in Sydney branch, which is fantastic to see that Susan has remained active. So we had the 4 nominations against a cohort of 6 vacancies, which means with fewer nominations than there were vacancies, there was no need to hold an election. And the board retains 2 empty spaces available to be filled by a casual director on a needs basis. In accordance with Chapter 24.4A of the Chapter Constitution, each of the 4 nominees are deemed elected to the board. That's in accordance with the recommendations I made to Brianna and moved by the board recently. Congratulations to all 4 of those returning or incoming directors. I'll take this moment to say thank you for everyone who's made my 6 years on the board be really enjoyable. We've been able to win 3 fantastic awards in that time. I've been Volunteer of the Year for Asia Pacific once, and this year, along with Abby, to be Chapter Volunteer of the Year has been a fantastic way to close out my 6 years. Thanks, Anastasia.
Thanks, Gary. With this, I think we want to hand over to Bree.
So, Gary, thank you first and foremost. It has been an absolutely amazing 6 years, and I can already see some notes in the chat saying sorry to see you go. Well, this is the best news. He ain't going far. He is going back to his grassroots in Canberra, and Gary is, well, he simply can't stay away. So big things are going to come to Canberra, good things in 2025. And I would like to thank Gary personally, because he has been a fantastic vice president, and before that he was a fantastic events director and sponsorship director, and contributed to literally every single area he touched. So big thank you to you, Gary. It's also fantastic to see that in tonight's nominations, there is a lot of continuity and sustainability. Evan and Susan are coming from genuine grassroots. And for Susan, it has been a meandering journey. Susan was a director on board level. She then went back and supported and built Sydney and the Sydney community in some really tough and challenging times post-COVID. And it is an immense pleasure to welcome Susan to the board. Similarly, Evan has been the face of Adelaide for a number of years, and he started preparing his strong succession team a year or so ago. So it is an absolute pleasure to welcome Evan joining the board, and no pressure, greatness is awaiting. So before I hand over for question time, it is also my last official event as a president. As of tomorrow morning, I am going to step in the role of the past president. And we are going to announce the new leadership team very early next week. So I can echo Gary's feelings. It has been an amazing journey, and I am grateful and thankful to every single person who is on the current board. And I'm also very appreciative and grateful to all the people who were supporting and helping throughout the years since I have been involved with the chapter. And I'm also planning to stay engaged and not go too far away. But new things are on the horizon, and 2025 is going to be an absolutely outstanding year. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Bree, and everyone put in their comments in the chat. I don't actually see any questions in the question and answer form, but there's also an option just to raise your hand if you have any questions. No question, just double checking. Carl, still no question in the Q&A? We're good?
It's more of a comment, actually, if I
Okay.
can.
Comment or question. Yeah.
I just wanted to jump on, just take a moment here, just to give my personal thanks really to Brianna and Gary, who are both stepping down on the board. Me being a past board member for 6 years, really gained, just had such a great working relationship with Brianna and Gary together. And just to say thank you. I can't speak on behalf of members, but certainly from my behalf of myself as an ex-board member and as a member, just to say thank you, Brianna and Gary, for all of the amazing work and leadership that you have provided to the chapter and to the business analysis profession in Australia and internationally. Your impact is well recognised and well known, and is being seen in the types of results that we're seeing at the AGM. So personally, so thank you very much for everything you've done, and I'm excited to see whatever the next chapter brings forward, because I know that there'll be something there, and I look forward to continuing to be a part of that. And thanks very much. So just wanted to throw in a 2 cents there. Thanks, Anastasia.
With this, I think we can conclude the meeting for tonight. The chapter contacts are on our website, but they're also there. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks for attending. That was very nice to see all those people interested in how we did last year, and looking forward for the new 2025.
Thank you. And please watch out for the AGM report, and also for an exciting update on the new leadership team next week. Thank you, everyone.